What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of JB360. We have here a special one for you guys. I don't usually do mid-drive videos, but this is this is sort of a special occasion in a sense, because I think I may have found the cheapest alternative to a Surron slash Talaria at its price point. Wanted to introduce you guys to the KNOCKOFF 02 Pro, aka codename EM-23. And this is not a review video, guys. This is more like a first impressions video. I had actually bought this with my own money, so this isn't sponsored or anything, but this particular model basically cost me about subtotal $850, and with all the fees, the shipping fees and taxes and stuff, came out to about $1,100. And on paper, the specs are very similar to a stock Surron. Probably some better components in certain areas, but yeah, I just wanted to give you guys sort of like an overview of the KNOCKOFF 02 Pro. We're just going to call it the EM-23 for now, but yeah, the bike itself just rips. I mean, the thing is pretty much like, it feels like a Surron. When you do sit on it, it does kind of feel a little bit like a XXX. So yeah, let's go over some of the specs. So right here, if you notice, in the center part of the frame, we have the undercarriage here where the battery is located. This is a 60 volt 27 amp hour battery. I'm not sure what the cells are, the 21700 cells are, but in order to release this battery, actually there's this like knob here that you would loosen, and then you just remove these panels over here on the side where you can just kind of remove the battery from the frame part over here. In terms of motor, guys, we have basically a rebranded QS138 2500 watt edition. I believe this is the 60H version. So we've got our QS138 here. You notice here, actually, the rear shock is in a very interesting position. It sort of takes up most of the middle part of the frame here. While I was riding it for about like 20-30 miles, I did a group ride the other day. It actually was pretty good in terms of handling a lot of the bumps and so the deeper potholes in the city. So honestly, didn't have an issue with the front and rear suspension at all. And in terms of front suspension, I believe these are coil shocks. These are non-adjustable, but the travel is enough that it's pretty bearable, in terms of if you want to like ride it off-road or whatnot. We're rocking on the front and rear 22-inch off-road tires. These are 70/100-19 tires. You could pretty much like swap these for street tires if you wanted to. I'm not sure if they are a direct fit for like the Surron and the Talaria Supermotos, but I'm pretty sure if I were to get my hands on one, I'd probably test it out. But I'll probably just throw Supermotos on this sooner rather than later. The sprocket size, I gotta confirm. I haven't verified this yet. I don't know if it's like a 42 or whatnot, but don't quote me on that. But we have our standard sprocket over here in the back. In terms of brakes, we have these moto style brakes actually. I believe these are 3mm thick rotors. I believe they're like 180 or 203 if I'm not mistaken. But they do use DOT brakes. As you see here, you see like the master cylinder for the DOT fluid over here on the left and right side. Really nice, like that. In terms of seating, it's pretty comfortable, I would say. If you were to do an aftermarket seat, I'd probably get something a little bit thicker. As you guys know, most of the Surron riders eventually like switch out their seats or swap to like a seat cover. So that might be the way to go, with the EM-23. But for just like a good amount of like 2-3 hour riding, it's fine. All right, as we make our way over to the dash here, we have our display controls here with the LCD screen. You have your power button here. You have your mode switch, basically your speed mode switch over here. The plus sign, when you hold it down, activates the front light. And as you can see over there, it uses kind of that like stealth bomber slash Fisher Fab light that you see on a lot of enduro bikes. Pretty much standard, but very powerful. You also have, what's interesting here is you have your left and right turning signals, which have a functioning brake light in the back, and your signals as well, which I think is something that the Surron and Talaria don't have. I don't know if they have working brake and turning signals and stuff like that, which is really awesome for this EM-23. As you can see on the screen here, I don't know if you can see that in the light, but you have our miles per hour over here, battery level over here, trip information, and also your pedal assist mode over here on the bottom. There's only 3 speed modes, and also we have our Surron full twist throttle. Very, very sensitive. I believe it's factory tuned pretty decently. I mean, the response is probably like less than a second in terms of throttling. So once you throttle it, you get an immediate response. Also, your standard pegs here for off-road riding, which is really nice, and your metal kickstand. The frame itself is actually listed as carbon steel. It's pretty heavy. I have to look at the weight again. I forget the kilograms. But overall, it's a pretty heavy bike, especially lugging this into the car. Definitely not something that you could just take up a flight of stairs. But overall, I do like the style of this bike. I think it kind of is very interesting, you know, just the sort of the configuration of the battery, and then the rear suspension over here in the middle. Very interesting design. Not something that I've seen very common with a lot of these sort of like e-moto bikes. A lot of times you'll have your rear shock in the back, standard, but this one kind of has like this longer, you know, sort of beefier shock in the middle, which is very interesting. And then you see sort of the linkage over here kind of connects to the swing arm back here, which is really interesting. In terms of controller, I'm not sure what this is running. I believe it's like one of those like factory controllers that probably does like about 60 amps, I would say. But yeah, I think eventually we're going to be opening this bad boy up and probably retuning it with a far driver, seeing how far we can push the stock pack as well as a stock motor with a higher tune. But yeah, guys, this is probably one of the first ones in New York City / the US. I know they sell these exclusively in Dubai and I believe also Russia, but they're starting to make their way over to the warehouses over here in the US. I had gotten mine off of Alibaba. Enough of me talking. Let's go and give the EM-23 / Kugo Wish Pro 02 Kugo Wish 02 Pro a top speed run. Show you guys sort of the ride quality and the ride experience from a first person perspective. And yeah, guys, let's hit the road. All right, guys, we've been standing in the heat for a little bit too long. It's about 92 degrees right now, and let's see what top speed numbers we can get on the EM-23. So this is rated for about 70 kilometers an hour. I believe that's about like 43, 44 miles an hour. Very similar to a stock Surron. So we're going to be running this half-mile stretch here. Let's see what sort of numbers we get. All right, here we go, guys. Top speed of about 42 miles an hour. I think that's a pretty good top speed. Considering you'll probably be updating this thing eventually, but we are running also off-road tires. I had street tires on, you would see like a higher top speed. But overall, this thing rips, man. For the price too, I don't know if there's any other mid-drive e-moto in its price point. That is similar to the EM-23. But the torque is there though, like you hit it, it's pretty much automatic. Yeah, see? And you get some good quality components too as well, with the DOT brakes on the front and rear. Oh yeah. Like automatic. Also, mind you, I'm a 200-pound rider. I'm pretty sure if you were like 170 pounds or something like that, you probably hit like that 45, no issues. But 42 is still pretty impressive for the setup. Miles off, I would say. Oh, we hit 44. Nice. 44 miles an hour, not too bad. You got its second wind underneath it. I would say this thing is a head turner, man. I think also because the chain drive is like super loud, but the look of it is actually really cool. Like especially, I had brought this bike. Well, I had to unpack this bike directly from the warehouse that was storing it over in New Jersey, and I literally got like 3-4 people asking about the bike, where they can buy it and stuff like that. It's crazy. Definitely a head turner for sure. So in terms of like waiting period, I didn't have to wait too long for this bike because they were sort of in the middle of shipping a lot of their stock over to US warehouses, and I'll put the link, the Alibaba link, in the description. I dealt with Anne. She was like really helpful, helped me pretty much secure my order and stuff like that. You could actually put a deposit down so they could like secure your stock number. But yeah, it took maybe about less than a month, I would say, to get the bike. And they sent over, I think, like 10 or 11 units. to the warehouse. I was one of the few to put a deposit down, so I was able to get mine rather quickly, which was nice. And again, this is not a sponsored video. I'm not doing like any type of review for this bike. I just bought it with my own money because it was so cheap. And just like anyone else, especially from Alibaba, you want to be, you know, sure that you're dealing with the right manufacturer. You know, it's not a scam and stuff like that. So this company is verified. Actually, they sell regular like pit bikes and other like two-stroke motorcycles. And they started getting into like scooters and like mopeds and e-motos and stuff like that. Just wants to keep going. It's getting its second wind underneath it. Yeah, I've seen the QS138 on some builds, man. Some mid-drive builds, a lot of like moto conversions and stuff like that. The thing is very impressive for a smaller motor, like compared to like the 165. I think it's slightly smaller, I believe, but it pumps out a good amount of power. So I don't know if this caught this before, but we did hit 45 miles an hour, which is pretty good. I'm gonna do a little brake test over here. I'm gonna hit it at about like 20 something miles an hour. 3, 2, 1, set. That's about like, I don't know how many feet that is. Is that like 30 feet or something like that? The skid mark starts right there. Well, one thing is for certain, these brakes do bite. Right, we'll take this thing a little off-road, on a little off-road trail here. Woo. Oh man, this thing just powers through it. I brought long pants as well this time, just in case there are ticks in this vicinity. This thing's awesome, man. Holy cow. Apologies, as I'm not really an off-road rider, but I do enjoy it when I'm able to kind of test it out on these bikes. And they carved a path out here. I think it's like for ATVs or something like that. Yeah, this thing's awesome. Whoa. Oh yeah. Amazing. Another thing I forgot to mention, oh, where do we go actually? But another thing I forgot to mention is there's actually no horn on this bike, no type of aftermarket electric horn, so you probably have to get one just to kind of be on the safe side with cars and obviously pedestrians. So definitely recommend it as one of the first things you should get. Also, if I didn't mention before, these signal indicators actually show up on the screen here. So in case you're actually using signals for this bike, which I doubt you'll probably do that much, but it does tell you on screen if it's on or not, which is nice, so you're not constantly blinking. Alright, let's go this way. Whoa, let's go. Oh yeah. Woo. Oh yeah. Really nice. Yeah, this is where your off-road tires really shine. Alright, so the good thing is we know that this thing can hit 45, which is nice. That is about the same top speed as a stock Surron, but I do think the battery has a little bit more to give. I gotta open it up and just kind of like see if there's any markings as to some BMS information on the pack itself. Because the Surron, I don't think uses 21700 cells, if I'm not mistaken, the stock pack. That suspension is nice though. Alright, so just for the heck of it, we're going to be doing a little bit of a speed mode test. So I'm going to start out with speed mode 1 and see what top speed we get in each of the modes, even though I do know that you'll probably stick with mode 3 with this bike. I think it's good just to kind of like see what the other modes offer. So let's go with speed mode 1 in 3, 2, 1. Oh, still has some torque to it, but once you hit that like 13, 14 mile an hour mark, you feel that limiter kick in. It actually just pushes back on the acceleration, which is very interesting. I mean, the limiter is doing its job, which is nice. So about 14 miles an hour I got on the GPS, 15 on the display. All right, so let's test mode 2 in 3, 2, 1. Oh, that thing just picks up. The initial torque is crazy. About 25 miles an hour. Wow. Jeez. Very nice. You can see our battery went down to 2 bars. 26 I saw on the display, not too bad. Alright, so we've done a total of almost 15 miles and we're at 2 bars. And I can see the drop in power as well. We are hitting a top speed of about 38, 39 miles an hour. Yeah, it's about a few miles off from the display to the GPS. That's a big bump right there. All right, we're yellowing it. All right, guys, so all in all, the EM-23 is a great all-around e-moto. I think, you know, if you look at it from a stock perspective, you know, basically what a stock Surron would do. The only difference obviously is probably the easeability of sort of replacing the battery. I think is one thing that I forgot to mention. The fact that with the Surron you sort of have that top tray that you can just lift up and pull out makes it really convenient to swap out batteries. But at the same time, honestly, if you're going to be charging this thing on the bike and you're not going to be swapping it out or anything like that, just leave it in the mount right here. And in terms of upgrades, what I'm planning on doing possibly is going with a 72 volt pack over here. So I'd probably extend the battery a little bit and find some way to kind of like mount it at the top here. So the controller is actually located under the seat over here. I'm going to be taking it apart at some point and, you know, maybe listing it in a future video in terms of upgrades. But definitely want to swap this out for a far driver so I have a bit more control. Overall, honestly, for the price, for $1,100 is really a crazy deal, especially for something like this that, you know, performance-wise, you're going to get sort of that stock Surron performance with the ability to upgrade the bike, which is nice. And also, you can swap for e-moto parts as well. Can't go wrong. Obviously, you can swap out the sprocket, you can swap out the chain, the motor if you wanted to. I believe these two mounting points here are 6.5 inches apart, so you could probably get like a replacement motor if you wanted to add like crazy amounts of power. But I think the QS138 already produces a good amount of acceleration, you know, especially for this setup here. And then in terms of tires, I think one of the other things I would probably do, definitely swapping this out to street tires. I think you'll probably see a bit more top speed, you know, from a number standpoint. I think you probably hit like 46, maybe even 47. But yeah, man, overall this bike is really sweet. I can see this thing sort of making waves. Another thing I forgot to mention, if you guys are familiar with obviously the brand Tutio, that is actually a rebranded Kugo bike. So I don't know if Tutio at some point is going to release their version of the EM-23 sort of rebranded. Maybe this might even be Tutio's next full-on e-moto bike, because everyone loves the Soleil. You know, it's probably one of the more popular mini bikes that people are purchasing, obviously because of its price point. But honestly, if they were to bring this to Tutio's lineup, I think you'd probably see it about like 1,500 or maybe even like the 1,800 mark range. But that's still a pretty sweet deal considering like a stock Surron. I don't know how much it is, but you can get one for used for maybe like 3,000 or something like that. And new, I believe, is still at least like what, 3,500, 4,000. I'm not even sure what the prices are for a stock Surron, but it's definitely not 1,100. So frame is really sturdy, suspension is great, even for doing, you know, the little bit of off-road that I did. Really handles it well. Honestly, a game changer in terms of affordable e-motos. Anyways, guys, hope y'all enjoyed today's video. I know I did. We're going to be doing some more videos on this. I'm going to be opening this thing up just to kind of check out the battery, check out the controller, swapping out the controller for a far driver. So yeah, stay tuned for that, guys. And yeah, if y'all enjoyed today's content today, please be sure to like, comment, or even subscribe. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.